Hello everybody, Raw Space here. Welcome to the launch of Soyuz with Progress 75P to the ISS. Do I have my microphone on? Yes, I do. Awesome. I'm getting better at this. Okay, so give me your questions and I'll see what I can do. A little preface, this Progress 75P, it's a cargo mission to the International Space Station. Launches out of Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on a Russian Soyuz rocket. It's just routine cargo mission. Pretty much missions to the ISS and, as we've discussed previously, missions to the ISS and military/national security missions are about the only things launching right now during this quarantine period. So, after this, I'll have to check the calendar. Maybe I can do that later. Let's see. This is an unmanned launch. It's just a cargo mission with logistics and other supplies to the ISS. If you're a little confused about the naming, Soyuz is the name of the rocket. And for manned missions, Soyuz is also the name of the spacecraft. But in this case, Soyuz is the rocket and Progress is the spacecraft. Progress is an unmanned cargo craft. Let's see. Latonia, I do not know where Space Kitten is. She's probably dealing with her kids. Mine are currently either watching anime or taking a shower. If you hear any weird noise in the background, that's the shower above my head. Hopefully it stays above my head. Friday night launch. Yep. Although Friday, Monday, Wednesday doesn't seem to be much distinction between the days nowadays, but or nights for that matter. But yes, Friday night launch, always fun. Chris V. Uneven lighting on my hat. You know, it's funny. In addition to being a software developer, I'm also a photographer, semi-professional. And you would think that I would have the lighting thing down pat. But honestly, with my photography, I'm far more used to flash lighting, strobe lighting, than I am with hot lights or studio-like video lights. So, yeah, my setup is not ideal. I'd like to get some better lighting. I don't want to do this without the hat because my hair is a royal mess right now. And plus, I've got to plug the SpaceX because I'm a total shill for them and they pay me millions of dollars monthly to mention their name. Wink. That was sarcasm for the uninitiated. Mark W 1063. Nope, don't think the launch is delayed. These sorts of launches very seldom get any kind of significant delay. And we are still on track for a 9:51 p.m. Eastern Time launch, which is in 42 minutes. And the live coverage will be starting in about 22 minutes at 9:30 Eastern Time. Snow Kittens says the freight on board this Progress ship 25 kilograms total, 1,350 kilograms dry goods and experiments, 420 kilograms water tanks, 46 kilograms of oxygen tanks, and 650 kilograms of fuel. Source is Roscosmos. I checked, so a lot of times the Wikipedia page, or a Wikipedia page will be created for each supply mission. And I think the SpaceX CRS supply missions and maybe the Japanese ones, and maybe even the Cygnus Northrop Grumman ones get more attention than the Russian Progress missions. I think those pages may be updated a little more proactively. So I was not able to find the manifest of this mission, so thank you, Snow Kittens, for that. TLI 72 asks if I have a telescope. He's thinking of getting another one. The XT12 Go 2, is that too much of an upgrade from a 10-inch Dobsonian? So unfortunately, I'm a camera guy. I am not yet a telescope guy. So I actually don't know a lot about telescopes. I've never lived in a good location for sky viewing. So, and at night I'm always in my pajamas, and it takes a lot to get me clothed again. So, I'm actually a bad example. You should all get dressed at night, get your coat on, and go outside and look at the stars. Unlike raw space. But if you do want some perspective on telescopes, if you see Zilke in the chat, he's one of our moderators. He is quite young, but he's very much into telescopes. And we have people talking about snail traps. Interesting. Better? Let's see. Timeline. Okay. Yep. Greenwich Mean Time, 1:51 and 41 seconds launch. That's in 39 minutes from now. T plus 117.8 seconds is booster SEP. T plus 183.2 seconds is ferrying deployment. T plus 287.4 seconds is second stage startup. And at T plus 528.9 seconds is spacecraft separation. And that's almost 10 minutes after, that's 9.5 minutes after launch. In the pipe, 5x5. iVape. Welcome, welcome to the chat. iVape is our resident Australian moderator. Always good to have him here. ABKH, if you wanted to see this with your own eyes, you would need to be at Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. You know, unless you live over there, it's quite a long trip. I don't know if they even allow public viewings. I have no idea. But, yeah, I mean, it's also broadcast by Roscosmos. It's broadcast by NASA TV, of course, and rebroadcast by outlets such as myself and other channels who focus on space events. TLI 72, tips for growing your space channel on YouTube. Well, people respond to passion. If you really enjoy what you're doing, then put it out there. You know, be honest and produce content consistently, and you'll grow a following. I mean, every channel's path is different, but those are the general ideas. Cool graphics rolling across the screen, Charles Holiday? I do not know. And, you know, if the Borg gets Progress 75, then I guess the ISS will just have to wait for water, fuel, and oxygen. Oh, by the way, this week marks the 30th anniversary of the Hubble Space Telescope. I've been watching some Hubble documentaries on NASA TV today. 30 years of Hubble. Who'd have thought? And it would have been a lot less than that. It would have been less than 20 years if they hadn't gotten the 2009 fourth Hubble servicing mission authorized and off the ground. Hey, Rockin' Robbins. Yeah, he also knows telescopes. So pepper him with questions. Okay, Michael Galvin is feeling neglected. When will they start building the Lunar Gateway? All right. So there's a lot of words in the chat. Sometimes I don't catch them all. If I do happen to miss somebody's question, no need to storm off in a huff. Just ask me again, and I'll probably see it the second time around. The Lunar Gateway, that is a great question. Obviously, they're making progress, albeit incremental, on the launch system, the SLS. I have not heard about any concrete progress regarding the Lunar Gateway. I would not be surprised if the Lunar Gateway did not materialize. They've been talking about it for a while, but you know what tends to happen with big projects, that it's basically a new ISS except orbiting the moon, or maybe at the Earth Moon, you know, Lagrange point or something. But yeah, with a big project like that, if you haven't seen any concrete progress in years, then you're probably not going to. But don't take my word for it. I'm not with NASA, and I'm not the expert on the Lunar Gateway. As always, let's strive to keep the chat clean, respectful, and PG, as well as free of hot button topics like you know, religion and the death penalty and whatever else gets people all riled up. Let's keep it scientific, shall we? Fernando Mir asks, who will launch James Webb? I mean, James Webb is scheduled to be launched, next year? I think, on an Ariane Space Ariane 5 rocket. You know, that's unlikely to change. The Ariane 5 is a tried and true rocket with a long history. It's, you know, unlikely that the launch platform would be shifted to a Falcon Heavy or something like that. It would be too dramatic a change. So yeah, hopefully launching next year on a Ariane 5. Charles Holiday, Earth being flat, straight up stupidity. I mean, it's like Cuomo, what's he, the governor, the mayor, I don't know, there's always a Cuomo in office somewhere in New York, said that, you know, God bless America, you can believe whatever you want, but if your belief is that, in the context of what he was talking about, if your belief is that the virus is a hoax, then you're flat out wrong, because you're disproved by the facts. And in the case of the Earth being flat, you can believe that the Earth is a goldfish if you want, but you're bloody wrong, and you'll never be right about it. The The only correct answer is that Earth is a sphere or very close thereto, within about 0.3% perfect sphericity, oblate spheroid. I mean, people sometimes call it a pear, but really they're picking nits because the Earth is a smoother, rounder object than almost anything that humans have created. If you were looking at the Earth with your eyes, you would not be able to tell any difference from perfect sphericity. All right. Swan asteroid by a telescope. Maria Kutujan is asking. So is that the one that's supposed to pass within like 3 million miles or kilometers, 3 million somethings? Probably not. But you could always do a quick Google or check on any one of a number of sky like object tracking websites like heavensabove.com, heavens-above.com. You put in your location and it will tell you all the objects that you're going to be able to see and when, including Starlink train passes, which I'm looking forward to an opportunity to see magnitude 1.1, which is quite bright, pass of the most recent Starlink launch in just a few days, in like 4 days, and then a 1.3 pass the following day. So hopefully the skies are clear and I'll be able to get some pictures or something of that. I guess we shall see. 30 March of 2021 for James Webb. Thank you, Exoplanets channel. Hopefully that launch date sticks. Yes. Yes, Earth is an inflated blowfish without the spikes and no tail. Very spherical blowfish. Uh, 29 minutes to launch currently, Josh French. Jacob Timmerman, I think they have brought fish to space. I'd have to look it up to be sure, but I mean I know they've brought mice and some other creatures, but I'm pretty sure they brought some fish to space one time. It may have been on a shuttle mission. And I'm not sure what the fish did, because um, yeah, definitely something to look up. ABKH asks what will happen on May 7th. Let me check my raw space calendar. That's very bright. May 7th. Not a thing. What day of the week is that? That's a Thursday, so I will be ostensibly working, and I don't know. Something's supposed to happen on May 7th? Arturuxo. Aturuxo. Oh, gosh. Does China stream their launches? No, they do not. They did once upon a time, but I guess they had a rapid unscheduled disassembly event, and they decided that their national pride was too valuable to allow the people to watch launches live, and so they have not streamed a live launch ever since in the past few years. And shame on them for it. I think it's ridiculous, but I don't have any clout over China, so they do what they want. Am I actually there? No, I am not in Kazakhstan. This here is a static image. If I move off to the side, you can see a Soyuz launching behind me. That's a, maybe I should have picked one with an offset launch like this, so my head wasn't in the way, or I didn't have a rocket sticking out of the top of my head. All right. Mark Desire, good morning. He's one of our Norwegian. He's one of our Dutch moderators. I don't know why I said Norwegian. Netherlands, Norwegian, they both start with N. Zero G fish. Now you can always see Long March launches. That is the Chinese. Well, Long March is a whole series of rockets. Basically well, not every Chinese rocket, but they have multiple Long March rockets. In any case, you can always see Chinese launches after the fact. There are channels that post them, that post Chinese launch videos after they have happened. Sometimes I do, if I get my hands on one of those videos. But yeah. This okay, so Chris Imad, the Soyuz MS designators are for manned missions. This is a Progress cargo mission, so this is Progress 75P, also called ISS 75P, but it's the 75th Progress mission to the ISS, unless my count is off. Fernando Mir asks, what about the exploration of Jupiter-Saturn moons, or the Jovian or the Saturnian moons? Well, we've got some missions in the works, including Europa Clipper and the Titan, like helicopter thing, drone, but they're not going to be launching for quite some time. I mean, they're in development and they're very exciting, but unfortunately, outer planets, outer solar system missions take a great deal of patience, because it can be 15-20 years between the time the mission is approved and the time that it actually, arrives at its destination, or even longer sometimes, depending on how they use how they orchestrate the trajectory. Like, for example, Galileo, which was a probe to Jupiter back in the 90s, they used what they called Vega, which was a Venus-Earth gravity assist. So it went around Venus, and then it went around, it slungshot past Earth twice in order to gain the momentum it needed to fly out to Jupiter. And that took longer, but got the job done. All right, so we're looking at the broadcast starting up here within about 2 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. And I may come on afterwards, maybe. But thank you all for coming, and I look forward to a successful Progress 75 cargo craft launch soon.
Good evening. You are looking at a picture from a balcony camera overlooking the Russian Mission Control Center in the town of Korolyov on the outskirts of Moscow, where the countdown is proceeding for launch of an unpiloted Progress resupply ship just 21 minutes from now from Site 31 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. We're standing by for video from the launch site to be received here in Houston, where the flight control team here in Mission Control is standing by to work alongside with its Russian partners in overseeing not only the launch of this 75th Progress resupply ship to the International Space Station, but also its two-orbit rendezvous and docking to the aft port of the Zvezda service module about 3 hours and change after launch. Aboard the International Space Station, the Expedition 63 crew is in a split sleep shift at this hour. The two Russian cosmonauts on board who arrived on the station just a fortnight ago, Anatoly Ivanishin and Ivan Wagner, are awake. They will be awake through the docking of the Progress vehicle to the International Space Station. The commander of the International Space Station and Expedition 63, NASA's Chris Cassidy, is asleep at this hour. He is likely to be awake by the time the Progress arrives in the vicinity of the International Space Station for an expected docking 12 minutes after midnight Central Time, 1:12 a.m. Eastern Time. It's just 1 hour after sunrise at the launch site of the Baikonur Cosmodrome. The Soyuz 2.1A booster on Site 31's launch pad is fully fueled, ready for launch. The countdown is proceeding on track. No issues being reported by the launch engineers in the blockhouse at Baikonur. The 75th Progress resupply ship that is about to go skyward to the International Space Station is loaded with 1,543 pounds of propellant, 110 pounds of oxygen, 926 pounds of water, and almost 3,000 pounds of dry cargo, 2.78 tons of food, fuel, and supplies being delivered for the Expedition 63 crew on board the International Space Station. The launch into a two-orbit fast-track rendezvous for the Progress resupply vehicle will come at 8:51 and 41 seconds Central Time, 9:51 and 41 seconds Eastern Time. The International Space Station actually will pass directly over the Baikonur Cosmodrome 41 seconds after launch and will leapfrog past the Progress, which will then be in a catch-up mode for its two-orbit rendezvous after a pre-programmed series of engine firings to not only raise the Progress's orbit to match that of the International Space Station, but to fine-tune its path to the International Outpost. It will take 8 minutes and 46 seconds from the time of launch until the Progress separates from the third stage of its Soyuz booster and begins to deploy its solar arrays and navigational antennas for the chase to catch up to the International Space Station. As mentioned, tonight's launch of the Progress resupply ship from Site 31 of the Baikonur Cosmodrome, coming off the same launch pad that Chris Cassidy, Anatoly Ivanishin, and Ivan Wagner launched off of just 2 weeks ago for their four-orbit rendezvous to reach the International Space Station and the start of a 6.5-month mission on the orbital outpost. We're just 1 week past the time that the departing Expedition 62 crew, that was Oleg Skropochka and NASA astronauts Andrew Morgan and Jessica Meir, returned home for a landing on the steppe of Kazakhstan. They're back at their respective locations in Star City, Russia, and here in Houston, undergoing post-flight debriefings. The Soyuz 2.1A booster and its Progress resupply ship, encapsulated in its upper stage, rolled out to the launch pad a short distance on Wednesday morning, just after 7 a.m. Baikonur time. You can see on the upper stage of the Soyuz booster the logo 75th. That is representative of the fact that this launch of the 75th Progress is coming on the 75th anniversary of the day that Soviet and American troops met at the Elbe River near Torgau in Germany, marking an important step toward the end of World War II in Europe. Marking that moment in history, the Soyuz booster is decorated today with memorial logos as it sits on the launch pad fully fueled at Site 31 Roscosmos. The Russian Federal Space Agency is calling this vehicle the Victory Rocket. That rollout took less than 40 minutes from the time it left the integration building at Site 31 until the time it was raised vertically on its launch pad, allowing launch pad technicians to hook up electrical cables and data cables to set the stage for launch, which is scheduled just 15 minutes from now. At the time of launch, the International Space Station will be flying about 260 miles above the Earth, crossing the border between Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, 329 statute miles behind the Soyuz booster. And as mentioned, it will leapfrog past the Progress and the Soyuz, enabling the Progress to begin its trek to catch up to the station just 2 orbits or just over 3 hours after launch. The sequence of events following launch calls for the Soyuz's first stage separation to occur just 1 minute 58 seconds after launch. The launch shroud jettison will come at about the 3-minute 3-second mark. That will be the precursor to second stage shutdown at 4 minutes and 37 seconds, and second stage separation 10 seconds later. The third stage skirt jettisoning will occur 10 seconds after that at just under the 5-minute mark, and third stage shutdown and orbital insertion will come at the 8-minute 46-second mark, spacecraft separation just seconds after that, setting the stage for the solar array deployment and navigational antenna deployment on the Progress as it begins its journey to reach the International Space Station and to docking at 12:12 a.m. Central Time, 1:12 a.m. Eastern Time, Saturday morning. This is Mission Control Houston coming up on the 10.5-minute mark before launch. Countdown preparations are continuing at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan as we approach the 10-minute mark until launch. Once the Progress reaches its preliminary orbit, a series of pre-programmed engine firings will be conducted to place the Progress on a pinpoint path to the International Space Station. The so-called automated rendezvous sequence is scheduled to begin just before 10 p.m. Central Time tonight. That will enable the Progress to arrive in the vicinity of the International Space Station for a fly-around maneuver that will precisely align the forward docking probe on the Progress vehicle to the aft port of the Zvezda service module, to which the Progress will link up to just after midnight Central Time Saturday morning. Readiness reports from the blockhouse at the Baikonur Cosmodrome indicate that everything is in good shape. Inside 8 minutes now. At the 7-minute mark, a key is inserted into a start mechanism, and then the key is rotated, transitioning the vehicle, the Soyuz 2.1A booster, to an automatic mode. It's essentially equivalent to a ground launch sequencer. The report from Baikonur is that the Progress vehicle is now on autonomous power as we approach the 6-minute mark until launch. Down to the Baikonur Cosmodrome, just inside 5 minutes until launch. The activation of recorders in the Launch Control Center have been completed. Telemetry from the launch vehicle is being received. Everything is in good shape down at Baikonur. We're coming up on the purging of fuel lines and other elements of the rocket engines to fireproof them by removing vapors of fuel and oxidizer. This feed now that you're seeing of the progress on the launch pad, courtesy of Roscosmos, as we are approaching the 4-minute mark. What you're seeing here is the graphic view of the Soyuz 2.1A booster on the launch pad. This is generated by real-time telemetry being received at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov as we approach the 3-minute mark until launch. Now standing by for fuel and oxidizer tanks to be pressurized. This will optimize the fuel flow to the various stages on the Soyuz 2.1A booster and to provide structural rigidity to the launch vehicle. Now just 2 minutes until launch. And now about a minute away from launch, you see the progress on the launch pad, fully fueled. Drainage has been completed. There are 2 umbilical towers that are buttressed up against the side of the Soyuz 2.1A. The first should be retracting momentarily. Standing by for the launch command. And the first of the umbilicals now retracting. Once the second umbilical retracts, that will initiate the launch command for main engine start. There goes the second umbilical. We have a go for main engine start. We have main engine start. Turbo pumps now coming up to flight speed. And liftoff. Liftoff of the 75th Progress resupply ship on a fast-track 2-orbit flight to the International Space Station. Roll, pitch, and yaw program are in. The Soyuz 2.1A booster arcing out to the northeast from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. All parameters are reported to be normal. The International Space Station is now flying directly over the Baikonur Cosmodrome. The Soyuz now moving through the period of maximum dynamic pressure, going supersonic as it heads downrange. Soyuz traveling at 2,500 miles an hour, some 15 miles in altitude now, 10 miles downrange from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. All parameters are reported to be normal by the engineers at the blockhouse in Baikonur as we stand by for first stage shutdown and separation. And we have first stage shutdown. Second stage engines up and running in good shape. The flight is reported to be proceeding in nominal fashion. Good structural parameters being reported. The Soyuz second stage is guiding the Progress resupply ship on a precise path to its preliminary orbit. And we have reports of launch shroud jettison. All the vehicle parameters are in good shape. Good engine performance from the second stage engines. And this view from a camera on the upper stage of the Soyuz 2.1A. The Soyuz traveling now at about 7,300 miles an hour. 81 miles in altitude, 190 miles downrange from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. The second stage engine continues to function normally, all good structural parameters being reported. And we're standing by for second stage shutdown and separation. All good reports coming in from the blockhouse at Baikonur. Good structural parameters being reported. The flight continues to proceed in nominal fashion. Yaw, pitch and roll. Good reports coming in from Baikonur as the Soyuz continues to do its job. Well over halfway through its ascent to place the Progress on a path to the International Space Station. Third stage engine performance up and running in good shape as we cross the 7-minute mark into the flight. About 1 minute and 40 seconds of powered flight remaining. Animation now being generated by real-time telemetry from the Soyuz 2.1A booster, as we're about 1 minute and 15 seconds away from third stage shutdown and spacecraft separation. The Soyuz booster traveling almost 13,000 miles an hour, 122 miles in altitude, more than 600 miles downrange from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. Third stage engine continues to burn in perfect fashion as we cross the 8-minute mark. Good stable vehicle being reported. As soon as the Progress separates from the third stage, control of the flight of the Progress will revert back to the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov outside of Moscow. We're standing by now for third stage shutdown and spacecraft separation. And we have third stage shutdown and separation. Next event will be the deployment of the Progress's solar arrays and navigational antennas. And you see that function now in work. And all of the appendages have now been deployed, the solar arrays and the navigational antenna and the TV boom on the Progress. A perfect launch and a perfect ride to its preliminary orbit. Launch occurring at 8:51 and 41 seconds p.m. Central Time, 9:51:41 Eastern Time. A good ride uphill on the Soyuz 2.1A booster. And so the Progress chase is now on to reach the International Space Station, with docking scheduled at 12:12 a.m. Central Time, 1:12 a.m. Eastern Time. And so, about an hour or so after sunrise at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, the Soyuz 2.1A booster took flight, delivering the Progress resupply vehicle, the 75th Progress resupply ship, to a perfect orbit, a preliminary orbit, a series of engine firings, pre-programmed engine burns. Now we'll raise the Progress's orbit and put it on a path to reach the International Space Station. There's our first view through the Progress's external television camera. All of the Progress's systems are in excellent shape. The Progress carrying 2.78 tons of food, fuel, and supplies for the residents of the International Space Station. We will be back on the air at 11:30 p.m. Central Time, 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time, with our rendezvous and docking coverage, docking scheduled again at 12:12 a.m. Central, 1:12 a.m. Eastern Time on Saturday morning. So be back with us in a couple of hours and rejoin our coverage at that time. Until then, this is Mission Control Houston.
Земля, борт. Есть отрыв холодный пневмоколодок блока есть 50-й. Есть переход блока из бортовое питание 30-й. Есть наполнители, есть мачта 20-й. Доклад руководитель принял первый. Пуск. Есть пуск. Ожидание. Прошел контакт подъема. Двигатели центрального и боковых блоков ракеты-носители выставить режим главной ступени 5. Параметры системы управления ракеты-носителем в норме.
15. 20.
Двигатели первой и второй ступени работают нормально.
25. 30.
Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме.
40.
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
50.
Давление в камерах двигателей в норме.
60.
Тангаж, рысканье, вращение в норме.
70.
Полет нормальный.
80.
Параметры системы управления ракеты-носителя в норме.
90.
Двигатели первой и второй ступени работают нормально.
100.
Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме.
110.
Тангаж, рысканье, вращение в норме.
120.
Есть выключение двигателей боковых блоков. Есть отделение боковых блоков.
130.
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
140.
Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме.
150.
Двигатель второй ступени работает нормально.
160.
Полет нормальный.
170.
Параметры системы управления ракеты-носителя в норме.
180.
Есть сброс створа головного обтекателя.
190.
Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме.
210.
Двигатель второй ступени работает нормально.
220.
Параметры системы управления ракеты-носителя в норме.
230.
Полет нормальный. Время КП 6 часов 51 минута 41 секунда 291 миллисекунда.
240.
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
250.
Двигатель второй ступени работает нормально.
260.
Тангаж, рысканье, вращение в норме.
270.
Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме.
280.
Прошел гарантийный наддув бака окислителя третьей ступени.
290.
Есть запуск двигателя третьей ступени. Есть выключение двигателя второй ступени. Есть отделение второй ступени.
300.
Есть Трос панели хвостового отсека. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая. Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме. Двигатель третьей ступени работает нормально. Параметры системы управления в норме. Полет нормальный. Тангаж, рысканье, вращение в норме. Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме. Двигатель третьей ступени работает нормально. Параметры системы управления ракеты-носителя в норме. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая. Полет нормальный. Тангаж, рысканье, вращение в норме. Двигатель третьей ступени работает нормально. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая. Полет нормальный. Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме. Двигатель третьей ступени работает нормально. Параметры системы управления в норме. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая. Полет нормальный. Тангаж, рысканье, вращение в норме. Параметры системы управления в норме. Есть выключение двигателя третьей ступени. 530. Есть отделение транспортного грузового корабля «Прогресс МС-14». Транспортный грузовой корабль «Прогресс МС-14» выведен на орбиту искусственного спутника Земли. Репортаж о запуске транспортного грузового корабля «Прогресс МС-14» номер 448 окончен.
Итак, корабль «Прогресс МС».